They say they want it. They all say they want it. Success, wealth, freedom, the house, the legacy, the life that turns heads and silences doubt. But watch closely, because most never even step onto the battlefield. They spend their lives studying the armor, polishing the sword, admiring the map, but never fighting the war. Why? Because the war demands something they aren't willing to pay. Loss, humiliation, rejection, failure, embarrassment, and above all, risk without guarantee. That's the part that breaks them, not the work, not the hours, but the idea that they could give their soul to something and still lose. That's why most people fail. Not because they're incapable, but because they've already decided in secret that they cannot survive losing. So they never really try. They talk, plan, wait, watch, hope, but they never move. They never leap. Because leaping means falling first. It means risking your image, your pride, your safety. It means being willing to look like a fool on your way to becoming a master. But hear this. There is no greatness without humiliation. There is no triumph without trials. There is no glory without the gut-wrenching risk of failure. Walt Disney had to eat out of garbage cans before the world saw Mickey. Thomas Edison was called mentally slow before he lit the world. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team before he became the symbol of dominance. The price of entry to success is loss. And the ones who rise are not the ones who avoid it. They're the ones who bleed for it. They lose and they learn. They stumble and they sharpen. They fail and they forge themselves anew. But cowards never know that. Because cowards sit behind the mask of realism, too afraid to risk the ego death that leads to transformation. You want to know why most people stay average? Because they make avoiding pain the primary objective of their life. Not growth, not purpose, comfort. And comfort is the silent killer. It doesn't murder your dreams in one dramatic blow. It suffocates them, softly, slowly. While it whispers, "You're okay here. Why risk it all?" But you are not here to be okay. You are here to be great. You are here to stretch, to fall forward, to drown in effort and rise in wisdom. The game is rigged for those who risk, because risk is the gateway drug to self-respect. When you put yourself on the line, when you chase a vision that might fail, you tell the universe, "I am ready to build, not just exist." Most people never reach that place because their fear of losing outweighs their desire to become. And so they rot in potential, alive but not awake, breathing but not becoming, but not you, because you've heard the call. That silent scream inside you that says, "There is more in me than the world has seen." And to answer that call, you must be willing to die to who you've been. That's the paradox. The only way to win is to risk losing. To fail so many times that failure forgets your name. To walk through the fire again and again until the fire bows to your will. You do not need to be fearless. You need to be willing. Willing to look like an idiot. Willing to lose money. Willing to be mocked. Willing to show up again, empty-handed after your plans collapse. Because every loss is an initiation. Every rejection is a rite of passage. Every time life slaps you down, it's testing you and asking, "Do you really want this? Or was it just a wish you whispered when things were easy?" You can't fake hunger. You can't fake conviction. And the universe knows the difference. That's why you must decide, right now, that you will not be one of the many who sit on the sidelines of life, counting the reasons it might not work. That you will not be paralyzed by the illusion of safety. Because safety is a lie. There is no safety in stagnation, only slow decay. The only safety is in skill, in resilience, in becoming the kind of person who can be dropped into the fire and walk out holding wisdom. But that's only built one way, by facing what most people avoid. So if you feel fear, good. If you feel doubt, perfect. If your dreams feel like they might break you, That's the path, because that's the road all legends walk. Not the easy road, the only road. The road where you get knocked down so many times you forget what standing feels like, now, Sai? But you rise anyway. The road where people leave, results delay, money disappears, but your fire stays. The road where no one claps, no one cares, no one sees, but you show up anyway, because that's what winners do. They show up through tears, through failure, through the echo of 1,000 unanswered prayers. They show up not because it's easy, not because it's guaranteed, but because they decided who they are. You don't wait for belief to come. You build it. You don't hope for confidence. You forge it through doing what terrifies you until terror becomes familiar. Fear will not leave, but neither will your mission. And if one must win, let it be your mission. So walk into the storm, eyes open, heart steady, not because you're sure of the outcome, but because you're sure of yourself. And if you fall, let it be falling forward. Let it be in the direction of something real. Because failure is not the end, it's just the fire. And fire is how steel is made. Look around, look closely. The world celebrates the finished product. The billion-dollar exit, the stadium applause, the gold medals and champagne nights. But what they never show you is the price. They don't show you the bankrupt accounts, the lonely nights staring at ceilings wondering if it was all a mistake. They don't show you the ridicule, the silence, the second guessing. Because it's not glamorous, it doesn't go viral, but that's where everything real is born. Behind every overnight success is 1,000 nights of silent war, where no one claps, no one texts, no one believes, and still, you build. Because you don't create greatness in the spotlight, you forge it in the shadows, in the repetition no one sees, in the sacrifices no one understands, in the decision over and over to keep going when nothing is working. Yet something in you refuses to quit. That's how wealth is born. That's how empires are built. That's how you go from average to unstoppable. But first, you must die. Not physically, not permanently, but your old self must be laid to rest. The version of you that needed applause, the version that needed certainty, the version that couldn't move without validation. That version must burn.
Because this path doesn't reward the emotionally fragile. It rewards those who take emotional responsibility, who say, if I feel fear, I'll use it. If I face doubt, I'll dig deeper. If I'm knocked down, I'll rise louder. The world is not waiting to give you permission. No one is coming to tap you on the shoulder and say, now is your time. It is your fire that announces you. It is your relentlessness that commands the room. And that fire is built every single time you choose growth over comfort. Discipline is not a punishment. It's the highest form of self-love. It says, I refuse to leave my potential on the table. But discipline without vision is slavery. So you must see it first. Feel it in your bones. The version of you who has already arrived. Wealthy, aligned, powerful. Not because they got lucky, but because they became the kind of person who could not be denied. Your mind must believe it before the world sees it. That's the cost. Faith in the invisible, conviction in the intangible, and relentless action in the dark. Henry Ford didn't ask the world what it wanted. He saw what didn't exist, and then he built it. He was called insane. They said it couldn't be done, and yet he moved, because his vision was louder than their doubt. That's what belief really is, not an emotion but a decision. A decision to trust yourself louder than the noise around you. And that decision? It is made every morning. When the bed is warm and the dream is cold. When the pain is loud and the reward is distant. When nothing feels like it's working, but you work anyway. That's where champions are created. Not on stages, not on magazine covers, but in grit-soaked silence. The truth is, most people think they're failing because it's hard, but it's hard because you're growing. It's supposed to feel like a storm, You're building muscles the old you never needed. So don't flinch, don't fold, don't envy those who took the easy way out. They'll be the ones clapping for you in 5 years, wishing they'd had the courage to walk through what you endured. You are not meant to live in quiet desperation. You are meant to roar. But first, you must earn that roar, and you earn it by walking through every fire life throws at you and refusing to become ashes. It's not the winds that define you, it's how you carry yourself in the losses. Do you collapse when the pressure rises, or do you rise with it? Because pressure doesn't break diamonds, it creates them, and you are being cut, carved, refined, every setback, every betrayal, every loss. It's not breaking you, it's building your edges, sharpening your soul. So when the world finally sees you, they won't understand how you got there. They won't see the bruises, the nights, the breakdowns. They'll call it talent, they'll call it luck. But you will know the truth. It was will, it was refusal, it was the decision to walk toward what everyone else runs from. That's what it takes, not just once, but every single day. So burn your excuses, shatter your backup plans, and rise with nothing to lose but the life you hate. You've waited long enough. The time for doubt is over. It's not that you're unworthy. It's not that you're unready. It's that you've been lying to yourself about how much you can take. But you are so much stronger than you think. And every time you walk through fear, you meet the version of yourself who was waiting on the other side. So walk, crawl if you have to, bleed if you must, but move. Because the truth is this: you were never meant to play small. You were never meant to blend in. You were built for war, but only if you stop fearing the fight.